It just strikes me, time and time again, a team with such quality doing so badly. Why?
Well, they're not functioning as a team. They're operating in three different sections. There's the offense, the midfield, and the defense. Sorry, not to forget the keeper case. And it's just not good enough to compete in the Bundesliga anymore, especially against teams, very solid groups like Freiburg and other teams around Germany. So they really need to come together as a group, and that is really the key for them moving forward, is to make a team out of a group of individuals, and that's somebody, obviously one of the responsibilities of the coach, and that's certainly something I know the club will be looking at when they do hire a new coach for the following season.
With hindsight, Kasey, was it a mistake then to sack Favre?
I think at the time it wasn't. I think it was a case where they felt that maybe this could give him that little bit of a boost, that Terzic was such a popular figure that maybe it would just bump them into the form that they needed to challenge Bayern, even though I think they really felt that that was maybe beyond them this season. But I think a lot of what had happened is they were papering over a bunch of cracks because they were so effective offensively. And Steve mentioned in the broadcast the how disjointed from the back line to the midfield were, and the big gaps that Freiburg were finding, right in front of the center backs, and eventually a good strike and a goalkeeping error were their undoing from those regions. So yes, they're not functioning right. Maybe Favre could have done the job, but obviously they weren't convinced, or they wouldn't have fired him. Are
you surprised that Terzic has come in and not been able to improve this side, Steve?
Well, Lucien Favre was a tactician, and he's a master of tactical work and video work, and he knows everything about the game and watches trainings over and over again in the games. He makes no mistakes on this side. But what was lacking him, and what they were not happy with, was his emotional side of managing the group, the emotions in the group, in the locker room, and at halftime, and before the game and after the game. And this is something they wwere really hoping on with Edin Terzic, because he was the emotional leader out of the coaching staff, really trying to motivate the boys, whether it was a pep talk or a tactical meeting in a hotel. And they're really hoping for this to put them to the next level. And it just hasn't. It seems like either they're not accepting him as being their coach or an authoritative person, because with raw emotion alone, you're not going to be able to guide a team like this. There's so many different characters from A to Z in this group, and it's very hard to manage. So it's going to take an experienced coach and person to manage this group moving forward.
Steve, you talk about characters, but this is a team that's defined by youngsters and up-and-coming quality. So in theory, you'd imagine, is that not easier to coach?
Well, if you really take a look at the group, there is a lot of very talented young players with a huge upside, and that is the business model of Borussia Dortmund. But there's Emre Can, there's Mats Hummels, there's an Axel Witsel. There's plenty of experience and age in this roster, and that's something that I think they did a good job of watching. But it also makes it very difficult for the coach to manage all of that. You have really the whole spectrum at this club, and it makes it very difficult to manage.
Finally, Steve, how much of a disaster would it be for Dortmund if they didn't qualify for the Champions League?
Well, it would certainly put them in a hole, not only with their fans and the whole Dortmund family, but I think financially as well. This is something they're they're depending on. They've depended on over the past 4 years, and now, unfortunately, through the COVID situation, revenue sales has broken away as well, which was something that Borussia Dortmund could always count on week in and week out. 80,000 fans there, and so it could put them in a serious hole, especially when they're talking about revamping their roster and adding new threats moving forward, or filling in holes, better said.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube, and for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app, and for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.